So, a couple of weeks ago, we told you about how the Illinois Supreme Court shot down Cook County's extra tax they added to guns, $25 per gun, a tax added, but also a penny to 5 cents per round of ammo that's purchased in Cook County. So that was implemented back in 2012, and a group sued, and back then took years to get to the high court, and the Illinois Supreme Court ultimately issuing that order several weeks ago, saying that they could not have this tax in place. So thereafter, Cook County said that they were going to halt the tax per the court's order, but then county commissioners came back and they reinstituted the tax, saying that the language they passed in a new county ordinance to levy the $25 per gun and up to 5 cents per round of ammo tax assuaged the court's concerns. So the tax is back on in Cook County. Well, I talked with Dan Eldridge. He is the owner of Maxon Shooters Supply in Des Plaines in Cook County. And I share that conversation with you here. And first up was just to get his reaction to how such a tax impacts a store like his, where he's in a county, and then you've got other gun stores that are in a different county just across the line. And how does that ultimately impact a place like Maxon Shooters in Des Plaines?
Because if they can do it here and they do it in other localities, your fundamental right to keep and bear arms is burdened by this tax. If they can tax a gun at $25 constitutionally, why not $250? Why not $2,500? It's not tax is de minimis. It's a question of whether the tax is constitutional on its face. And in this case, it's not.
So Eldridge saying that ultimately this tax is not something he feels is constitutional. And when you get down to it, some interesting arguments were raised about the constitutionality of such a tax, and ultimately the Supreme Court in Illinois not necessarily addressing those questions of the constitutionality, but addressing a small provision of the law that Cook County had about where the tax revenue was going to be used for. And it did not have a clear indication of what the tax revenue could be used for. And that's really where the Supreme Court shot down the ruling. So the county came back and said that they are now putting that line item of the tax revenue revenue collected from $25 tax on guns and up to 5 cents tax on ammo per round, that was going to go to specific types of programs. So they feel that they've assuaged the court's ruling here on this. But again, Eldridge with Maxon Shooters responding to the ongoing questions about how if this is allowed to stand, then it could possibly be implemented statewide.
The county, in response to losing 6-0 decision on one of 3 grounds that we were objecting to, the county made cosmetic changes by way of a text amendment to this ordinance. But where it stands legally is that the state Supreme Court has remanded this case back to the circuit court with instructions to issue summary judgment to me and the other amendment really does what it's not clear that the text amendment addresses the concerns of the Supreme Court. Moreover, we have these other constitutional issues sitting out there still. So this week, we did file a motion to rehear on the other constitutional challenges, that being Second Amendment and Illinois Constitution's equivalent of the Second Amendment, as well as a broader uniformity issue. And we also tax while these issues are pending. We believe we're likely to succeed on the constitutionality issues, and therefore it's appropriate for the court to order the county not to collect the tax while this is pending.
So this is some of the conversation I had with Dan Eldridge, the owner of Maxon Shooters and Displays, about Cook County re-implementing a tax on firearms and ammo. So they filed with the Illinois Supreme Court to reconsider the constitutional questions here and to ask the Supreme Court to halt the county from instituting that tax. So this is just in Cook County, but could it spread elsewhere? Here's Eldridge.
Well, we're fighting a specific tax ordinance. There have been proposals, I believe, for statewide ammunition taxes, and clearly by winning this fight, we'll foreclose on those ever being enacted.
And Eldridge said that he's staying in Cook County because this fight is important.
Because if they can do it here and they do it in other localities, your fundamental right to keep and bear arms is burdened by this tax. If they can tax a gun at $25 constitutionally, why not $250? Why not $2,500? It's not tax is de minimis. It's a question of whether the tax is constitutional on its face, and in this case, it's not.
So we'll see what the Illinois Supreme Court ultimately does with this question. That likely isn't just going to come from Dan Eldridge of Maxon Shooters Sports, but also others who filed suit, including Guns Save Life, organization here in Illinois that was part of that initial group of plaintiffs. So we'll keep an eye on that for you and see what ultimately the Illinois Supreme Court does in that case. It is